One. Hey, welcome back to another dispatch from Holly McKay. We're going back to Afghanistan and we're going to talk about cryptocurrency markets in Afghanistan, which apparently, while not quite approved, are still thriving. Tell us about that, Holly.
So it's really been in the last few years that crypto's actually really taken off in Afghanistan, particularly with young people, with students, people in their 20s who sort of heard about this phenomenon that was taking really the West by storm. And I met a young man by the name of Siwash, and he was really this leader in the crypto world in Afghanistan. He'd sort of heard about it several years ago and then started watching YouTube videos from India and really taught himself about what it is and how to use it and how to make money from it. And beyond that, I think he really just found a huge amount of pleasure and sort of excitement in it. Afghanistan is obviously a really sort of poor country. And so this sort of trading and gambling almost, was quite a thrill for Siwash. And eventually he became this real sort of leader within the community and started running an online school, and he was doing his own videos, and he was really getting hundreds and hundreds of Afghans kind of into the movement. And that sort of all really, I guess, became even more important, if you will, after the fall last year in August, because suddenly they could no longer get their money at the bank. And so you had this contingency of Afghans that were really relying on crypto donations, their crypto wallet, to kind of really survive.
Okay. So crypto is very typically used in many parts of the world as a way to move money outside of the normal banking system, which clearly the normal banking system took a hit in terms of how it works after the fall of Afghanistan. To what extent is this crypto market still working, and how does the government feel about it?
So it works a little bit differently in Afghanistan in the sense that, yes, you can sort of move things around and do things on your app, as you and I may or may not do with our crypto wallets. But in Afghanistan, when you want to buy and sell crypto, you physically have to go to one of these sort of known exchanges. And in Afghanistan, all these sort of money exchanges are together in the main cities. And so you'll go to an area, and that's where a lot of the trading happens. That's where people go to sell their US dollars or to get different currencies. And that's sort of how that system works. It's also Hawala system is very big in Afghanistan, and that's sort of a way that money gets into the country. It's quite big in the sort of Muslim community, and it's sort of a trust system. So that really the activity happens at these sort of exchanges. So even with crypto, people will go to these sort of known crypto trading spots, which used to be very heavily advertised, and they'll go and buy and sell crypto sort of in person with a trader there, and that's sort of how that exchange is done. Um, but anyway, sort of when the Taliban came to power, it wasn't on the Taliban's radar. They were more concerned about banning US currency. Obviously, the economy really reached a sort of a tipping point because people just could not get their own money out. So the Taliban was certainly focused on other things. And then unfortunately, what happened is sort of a lot of people heard about crypto without really understanding what cryptocurrency is and this whole idea of digital finance. So they thought it was sort of a way that they could get money. So a lot of people sort of suddenly joined in the northern city of Herat. It's quite big there. And as we know, crypto really took a downturn earlier this year, and people lost a lot of money. It's sort of the way that any market works. And crypto really fell. And so I think the newcomers who didn't understand it and were sort of just in there thinking that was a way to kind of get money couldn't understand why their crypto wallets were going down so quickly, and they thought that the trader in Herat or the traders were scamming them. So a bunch of people filed a complaint to the Taliban, and that sort of got on, I guess, the Taliban's radar. And I think a couple of the exchanges were raided. I believe 14 people were arrested for several days and later released. And then the Taliban sort of started to very much discourage people from using crypto. It's been a little bit of a mix. Some people saying the Taliban banned crypto, other people saying well, they didn't ban it, but it was widely discouraged, and sort of any digital trading any online stores. That was more what was the Taliban was banning. But long story short, people became very frightened of using it. Siwash said he was receiving text messages from the Taliban warning him, not to continue with his videos and his training. But so the movement sort of, I guess, on the surface seems to have disappeared, but really behind the scenes, you still have this, incredible contingency of very devoted people within that sort of industry that are still, quite frankly, relying on it. And are just sort of hopeful that for the day then they'll be able to sort of publicly come back and to kind of promote the crypto movement a little bit more publicly.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like the main effect there is the global markets and the volatility of cryptocurrency is what triggered this present wave. How does that compare to other, the trust system Hawala could be seen as yet another way of getting money in and out. It's probably less volatile than crypto is on any given day. So is that really?
Extremely traditional. It's extremely old. It doesn't, zero sort of reliance on anything digital or online. It really works where you can have someone from any country, really, and it's sort of again, it's a trust system. There'll be sort of an intermediary that will take a fee, might be 5%, could be more. Of, say, for example, if you wanted to get $1,000 in cash from wherever you couldn't get it in Afghanistan. A friend of a friend may have someone in Dubai who can get that money to you, and that's how the exchange will pay. They'll take a sort of a fee, and it's all basically just kind of written down on a piece of paper. So it's sort of very much the antithesis, I think, to sort of the digital world. It's certainly been used in Afghanistan and in the Middle East very widely for a very long time. Where this is sort of something very new, I think, to a lot of people. And obviously with Hawala, there's no, you could always run the risk of not getting your money, but there's no way to make more money. Whereas I think a lot of young Afghans are looking at crypto as sort of, well, here's an opportunity. If the particular coin that I invest in suddenly does really well, then, that's an opportunity for them to kind of make money.
Okay, so yeah, so the movement is attracted to the upside speculative value of to the volatility of the currency, and but when it goes down, the government tries to step in and stop it. Interesting that that kind of reaction in the internal financial system inside of Afghanistan plays out. It's very much the same as you see reactions to these technological currencies in other parts of the world. Now you said there's still an active group there that still uses it. So they at this point, is it how big of an exchange is it, say, compared to the rest of the money system in Afghanistan at this time?
It's still very small, just as it's still a very small percentage of even Americans that are involved in digital currencies. In Afghanistan, it's very much relegated to young people. I think Siwash said, he's taught, maybe 600 plus people how to use crypto on varying levels, from beginners to the advanced. He said several hundred women, have come to the classes, and it's sort of been a great way for them, especially now, to be able to kind of sort of feel like they're working or be part of something when they can't be the same public person they were before, or they can't go to their government jobs. It's also been useful for some people with NGO work as well. When NGOs, again, struggle to kind of either come into the country or bring money into the country, crypto was another way for people to survive. And as I said, people could turn that into physical cash by going to one of these exchanges and trading the crypto that they had in their wallet on their phone for that physical currency. So it certainly was a lifeline for a small but significant percentage of Afghans, and it's something that was really growing. It was something that was sort of becoming very much, I think, encouraged in many ways up until the fall happened. And again, it wasn't sort of initially on the Taliban's radar, but since then, and since the complaints, and I guess the government's not really understanding it, But the irony is that Siwash says he's had several, unbeknownst to him at the time, but had several Taliban that have been in the courses. So there are obviously people within the emirate that have done their own sort of study and research and are investing in crypto themselves. And it was interesting because we tend to look at crypto widely as this, it's obviously a very decentralized movement. And there's a lot of sort of talk and chatter and concern about government regulation in crypto. And even, here in America, the government is sort of trying to figure out what do we do with this. And usually within that crypto community, people turn to it because it is decentralized and because it is a departure from the government. But I also see here and also with people like Siwash who sort of welcome the day that there is some sort of regulation because they see that as it being sort of a safe path for crypto to kind of be able to come back and be able to trade safely and legally without sort of being in this kind of gray area. So he's sort of someone that hopes that at some point the emirate or whoever is in power will figure out the regulation puzzle.
Okay, well, very good. Well, that's an interesting status update on the world of crypto as it continues to evolve, and part of the world that you really, I mean, for most people in the Western world would not expect that it would be there or would be flourishing, but apparently it is. Well, thanks, Holly.
Please read the story. It's a really cool story on these sort of underground crypto devotees in Afghanistan.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, thank you very much, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.